Hey gang, it's JC, and this is your daily dose for Wednesday, January 5th, 2011, a cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We have all sorts of cool features for you, including eye candy, which is right along the bottom of the page here, and have some great stuff in the archives. You got to look at this interview we did with Leslie Nielsen for the first Naked Gun movie. He was 61 years old at the time we did the interview out in Los Angeles, and he was like the nicest, sweetest, funniest man you ever want to meet. He died a couple of weeks ago, and it's just he left us with some awfully funny stuff. And you can see that we have all sorts of features. Just to look at the tab across the top. You got your eye candy, as I mentioned. You got your Wayback Machine, your Video Village. And if you punch around a little bit, you'll see some really cool St. Louis television history, not only as it applies to the broadcasting industry, but other stuff too. Well, everybody's watching a lot of different things, including this August Bush IV story. Yesterday, we did a feature on the Big 550 KTRS. We're on every day from 10 until 1. We do this thing called Up or Down, No Middle Ground, and it's basically we state a proposition, and then you have to either agree with it or disagree with it, and there's no middle ground. You can't vacillate. You can't waffle. You have to come down on either this side or that side. And we said, this story, his account that was carried in the Post-Disgrace yesterday by you-know-who, he just basically said, are you buying into this, or do you think it's the biggest load of crap you ever heard? And it was 12-5, load of crap. So there's definitely some work to be done there by the PR team and attorney Art Margulis. And I'm telling you something, Art is the bomb to bring back a phrase from like 10 years ago. This guy, when I kill somebody, see, I don't even know what I can say anymore. I say something like that and people go, well, he said that someday he's going to kill somebody. Man, oh man. When you're watching 2.5 Men and Charlie Sheen says, I'm going to kill you. Or when the Three Stooges said, I'm going to murder you. They weren't really going to murder anybody. What we do is a comedy, entertainment, sort of personality show. And it's just amazing how people just want to take what we do for entertainment purposes and try to twist it around into something that it's not, but getting sort of used to it. But anyhow, like a lot of people, there's just a lot of things that I think people are noticing don't add up. Interestingly, one of the things that August Bush IV said was, this was the first girl that came along where I didn't feel the need to have somebody on the side. Man, even if you were thinking that, you're not supposed to say something like that out loud. And then the 42-minute gap, it's like shades of Rosemary Woods during the Watergate era, the 17-minute gap on the Nixon recordings. I don't know. I don't know whether he had any hand in this or not. I think it's just funny when, I think that every lawyer, you got to go to law school. And I just think there's probably one semester where the instructor says, okay, today's lesson is you're all going to be lawyers someday, and there's going to be times where you're going to want to laugh. And you can't laugh. So we're going to practice. We're bringing clowns in, and we're bringing comedians, and we're going to have kittens wrestle, which is always very funny. And you're going to have to sit there and not laugh. And this is, I think Art Margulis must have passed that course with flying colors, because for him to be able to look straight into a camera or talk to a reporter or something and just say, there's absolutely nothing unusual about this. That's just amazing to me. That's the guy I want, okay? And I just wouldn't want to be in August IV's shoes right now. We have heard all sorts of stuff. I haven't said this on the radio. I'll say it here, and I clearly will mark it as hearsay. But it is hearsay from one of the television newsrooms here in town. And this is now, I've heard this now from 2 different places, including one of the TV newsrooms. And they say that they had talked to an investigator who was in on this case, who was there when the body was found, and said that there had been a big party at that house the night before, and that the body was not found in the bedroom. The body was found on a little bed, whatever a little bed is, but a little bed in the basement. So we got all sorts of issues here, and there's just things that don't add up. We're as I said yesterday on the air, we're only people, and as people, we can't help ourselves from hearing something and go, well, that's a load of crap, or, well, yeah, take it easy on him. We live in a country where you're innocent until you're proven guilty of something, and so don't be accusing him of that. And as I said yesterday also, I hate it when people do that to me, so I'm not going to do it. So I did ask you to do something yesterday on the air that I would not have done myself, and that is speculate over something that's this delicate. But, you know, we do a radio show. You got to do stuff like that. Another big story that everybody's talking about here today is this cop, off-duty cop. You've probably seen the video already of the guy being beaten with the nightstick. And it looks horribly incriminating for the off-duty police officer until you start talking to the bystanders and the witnesses who said that the suspect who was getting clubbed was clearly intoxicated, was on the verge of, I guess he was coming in for gas or something else, into the gas station, and it was clearly intending to get behind the wheel of the car again. And also, the most incriminating part of the whole thing is that he had his hands around the off-duty police officer's ankles and wouldn't let go. So, you know, the question becomes, if somebody is drunk and disorderly and has got his hands on you, around your ankles, and won't let go, well, you're probably going to do something about that. Now, the question is, did the reaction of the police officer match the infraction? Because it's like, okay, you can say, hit him once until he lets go, or figure out some other way of eluding his grasp, but to just take out a nightstick and just start clubbing the guy, I don't know. This is another one of these things where you sit there and go, I don't know if we're ever going to know what really happened. And finally, in terms of hot topics today, we have, by the way, I think that I'm still going to have like 10% of this cough and cold on opening day. It just will not go away. I was talking to Trish on the phone last night, and I got into one of these coughing fits, and I think she thought I was going to die. And I put the phone on, I was like, wait a minute. I put the phone down, and I didn't have the speaker on. I just had the regular phone. And I could hear her screaming into the phone, drink something, drink something. So I'm just doing my best. I'm doing everything they say you're supposed to do, which is get plenty of rest, keep yourself warm, don't overexert yourself, you know, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, do all that sort of stuff that's supposed to help you when you are sick and you're trying not to be sick anymore. And I've done all of that stuff, including take my medication, and this will not let go. But I have talked to some people who say they've had this for like 3 months. So let me figure out. Yeah, opening day sounds about right. So anyhow, you know, you got these wackos, these nut jobs out of Kansas who think that they have the right to protest at military funerals because they don't like the fact that the military or the United States of America is sort of acquiescing to the idea that there are homosexuals in the country, and you can't just go around, you know, pushing them to the edge of the earth, hoping they fall off. And you got the city councilman up there in St. Charles County who's getting on TV a lot, but that's really all it's going to amount to. What he's suggesting is completely unconstitutional. You can't outlaw free speech, as abhorrent as it might be, and that is certainly the case with these people from Kansas, these ministers. You know, you can't do that, because then somebody could turn around one day and just say, well, I don't like what you're saying, and we're going to outlaw that. It's just a terribly slippery slope. And the only good suggestion I have ever heard about how to deal with these people comes from me. Okay? So here's the deal. You can't stop them. You can't make it illegal for them to protest. So what can you do? Well, here was my suggestion, and people laughed, but I'm sorry, I can't find the hole in this logic. So here's what you do. You find a lot of people who are passionate about trying to make these people go away, and you find as many people who are really, really seriously passionate about it, and you find as many as you can that don't have any sort of police record whatsoever. Okay? Now, when these people with their placards and everything saying, you know, God hates fags, you're going to die, and all this sort of stuff, what you do is you turn a hose on them, especially on these cold winter days. You know, I don't think that they could sustain being wet when it's 25 degrees outside. So now they're freezing cold and they got to leave because otherwise they'll die from exposure. All right, now the guy with the hose is going to get arrested for assault, okay? But he's going to probably get probation, okay? So now, you know, okay, you're on probation, but if you're really dedicated to the cause, that's not going to really mess you up. Next time they show up, you find another person who's dedicated to the cause of making these people go away, and you do the same thing. You go after them with a foam fire extinguisher or something, to the point where they simply cannot continue to protest and demonstrate. And now that guy gets arrested for assault, but he's going to get probation. So, you know, I don't know if this is one of the... My dad, on the south side of Chicago, we used to pull into our garage every night, and he would lock the car and then close the garage door and lock the garage door. And I always said to him, if you're locking the garage door, why are you also locking the car? And he said, if they want to steal this car, they're going to, but I'm not going to make it easy for them. Lesson from Dad. And let's just sort of leave it at that. So, a little unusual version of the Daily Dose here today for Wednesday, January 5th, 2011. I try on occasion, as my friend Spencer Koch, the Vice President and General Manager at Fox 2, says to me, he says, you're the voice of reason. Yeah, see, some people get it and some people don't. Thank you, Spencer. All right, that's it. The Daily Dose for Wednesday, January 5th, 2011. A combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We are on the air every day on the Big 550 KTRS along with my pal Trish Gazelle. We have Smash on Friday, Eric Mink on Tuesday, and lots of other really cool stuff. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.